The one thing I used to argue over, she said dramas were harder. I'd say comedy's way harder. Try to make somebody laugh. That's really hard. Make them cry. Kill a puppy or a soldier. You're done. Yeah. I'm serious. Like drama is, I'm not saying it's easier like for the actors, but I'm saying as far as like directing and doing whatever, yeah. And that's fun for me because I feel like I have a firm grasp of comedy. So it's fun to teach an actor like, nope, put a beat in there. Now it's twice as funny or whatever. I still remember sitting in English class in high school. She was a fabulous teacher. I must have been holding my head, doing something weird with my head because she goes, Laurie, you all right? Do you have a headache? And without even thinking, I went, yeah, this class. Everybody laughed. And I remember thinking, oh, crap. And she laughed.
It's like, there's my grade.
There's my grade. She laughed. And I remember thinking, oh, that was fun.
It's the Civic Theater Show, behind the scenes at Civic Theater of Greater Lafayette, Indiana. I'm John O. Directed by Laurie Russell. If you've seen a huge show at our theater, especially if it's a musical or a comedy, or both, you've seen that those are magic words. School of Rock, The Prom, Mamma Mia, The Rocky Horror Show, and now Young Frankenstein, the Mel Brooks musical, are only the most recent entries on her resume. Laurie Russell has a no-nonsense approach to casting and directing a show. Well, no nonsense, except that which is in the script. From discovering how to make her high school classmates laugh, to helping create an improv troupe, to finding every ounce of funny in a script, Laurie fosters an atmosphere in which drama stays on stage and lifelong friendships develop off stage. Laurie is intense. And as we'll hear, Laurie's style isn't always easy. But the reward for each audience is an incredible show that's often sold out. And for cast and crew, you become a member of Laurie's family. Here's Laurie Russell.
In fourth grade, we had this fabulous woman, because it was grade school, who did theater and stuff. And we did Peter Pan. And I was Peter Pan. I mean, and it was the musical, so I had to sing I won't grow up and all this kind of stuff. But I mean, the bad part of it was, so of course we didn't fly. Peter Pan came in on a rope.
Okay.
So I swung in like Tarzan, basically. And when I swung in, one of the performances, the Native Americans, the indigenous people, I took them out because they weren't where they were supposed to be. So it was not my fault.
You took them out swinging in on the rope?
I swung in and I knocked them down like a bowling ball.
You Tarzaned them right out of the...
I knocked them all over because they were not properly where they were supposed to be.
They weren't on their marks.
They were not where they were blocked. And, we just kept going. They sat up and we giggled or whatever. But yeah. So yes, that was my first foray. But I just remember, and a lot of what I do as a director now is Mrs. Bowser, what a horrible name for a, teacher, but who was phenomenal. And then in high school, Mrs. Meyer, I went to a high school that really took theater and made it important. And it still is, because it's down the road from me. And I recently went to one of their productions. It's phenomenal. They're so good. And at the time we had a teacher that she had worked on Broadway. I mean, that was her. She was evil. She was mean. Darn, she was good. She was so good. And so a lot of what I structure is from that. It's like you can run a tight ship and, that's what makes a good show.
She was evil and mean and yet very good.
That's me.
Inspiration for your directing style?
It is. You start, and also when I first student taught, my teacher that I worked with, she said, Laurie, you have a voice that you go here and then they go above you and then but you can go above them. You can just, she goes, learn to use your quiet voice and they'll listen. And the other thing she said was, you can't get strict back. Like she said, start your first 6 weeks, wear shoes that hurt, do something, but don't be overly nice. And I taught first grade, but she said, but you instill in them that you are going to follow through, that this is what's going to happen. And then you loosen up. And of course, then you have fun and the kids know. So that's also was always wise advice for teaching. So what's directing, but teaching. You're teaching somebody
Yeah.
to put this together. So,
Well, take us there from Mrs. Bowser as your first director, right?
yeah.
To, well, 4th grade, Peter Pan.
And then
I assume
school.
you kept acting and
Yeah.
performing. Did you sing in musicals?
I was in musicals, but I was, chorus ensemble, which I love because then I could fool around and talk to everybody and get in trouble. And then, you didn't have to learn as much. So I was in the dancing and the singing part. Yeah. Oh yeah. I got in trouble all the time I spent so much time in the principal's office. They let me answer the phone. And that is not even a joke. People that know me have heard that story. They just got tired of it, and she would just be, here, I've got to go somewhere, Laura. You answer the phone while I'm gone. So I would.
Did you let any other kids off when you answered the phone for?
No. I was a
hello,
good,
Mrs. Johnson.
Yeah. Your child is, yeah.
Jim, he got into trouble, but
Yeah.
I'm in charge now.
Yes, it's
so.
fine. Yeah. I'm sure parents probably wondered, what the heck's going on at that school? No, I was a good student. See, that was the other thing. So they couldn't stay too mad at me because I was a good student. But they moved my desk one time out in the hall because they just couldn't, because I talk. As everyone knows me knows. They're not a shy moment.
Always a performer. Once a performer, always a performer.
We have home movies of us coming down the stairs at the house, and my dad would film, and my other 3 siblings are going, hiding their face and going, no. And I'm doing a dance or singing or something.
Of course.
For that, yeah.
So did you do any kind of leadership in theater in drama club, or was it drama club in high school, or was there actual theater?
Oh no, we had a theater department.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah. And the nice thing was, again, the school was weird. Kids that were, the cool group, like the cheerleaders, football players, they were in choir, they were in band, they would do shows. So it was kind of a nice blend of, you got to know all these different people, all these different stratas of, social groups in the school, because you had this lovely, because it was a good program. Everybody liked it. So yeah, just acting. I didn't do any directing or stuff. In 4-H I did. In 4-H, we had a thing called Share the Fun, and it was a 5-minute skit thing. And I would put those together. My mother was a leader, and I was a leader at the time with her. And I would put those together and choreograph little dances. And didn't know what I was doing, but it was fun.
Mm-hmm. Theater through college? Right after college?
College, no. College, I was busy. Yeah.
Colleging.
I was busy partying. Yeah. I was.
Not you.
Oh, I know. It's kind of a shock. Yeah, I still remember my roommate. I say, we have all this extra time. She goes, you're supposed to be studying. And I'd be, oh, yeah, I guess so. But instead I was fooling around. And I also worked. I worked in college because I had all this extra time. I'm like, I might as well make some money. So
Where'd you go to school?
my undergrad was Western Illinois University. And then I got my master's at University of Illinois, Champaign.
When did you find your way to Civic
Theater? Civic Theater? Well, that would be my son, my middle one, who is married to the Tony Award winning Sam Pinkleton.
I'm going to ask about Sam later on.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, Andrew, we wanted to find Andrew was a pistol in school, and so we wanted to find something that would be for him, and he wanted to do that. And I don't remember, I couldn't tell you who told us or whatever, but we found they had classes and stuff, and he did that and then tried out and he was in 4th grade at the time, so a long time ago. And at the time, our youth person was Ann Welsh, who I just absolutely adored. The first time I met her, she was right outside those brown doors, and they had, plastic down, and they were painting or doing something for some set. She's smoking a cigarette. She's in this grubby whatever. And I said, well, hi. I said, I'm Laurie Russell. Is Andrew around? She goes, oh yeah, Andrew's here somewhere. And I'm like, oh my God, this is our leader. But she was phenomenal. She was phenomenal. She was just so good. Yeah. So then I started being on committees, I helped, when Ann left, I helped find the next person and, all that kind of stuff, and just helped with youth theater. Then when we lived in Australia for a year, 95, 96. And when we came back from that, then I was in You Can't Take It With You with Barry Schreier directed it. And, got more involved with some of the adults, still kid stuff. I mean, because in Allie, my youngest, she did youth theater too. So yeah, I was sucked in and that's why I always tell people why our youth theater is so important, is because that's what happens. The parents, look at Renee Valiant now. She did costumes for Beetlejuice, and she's, it gets people going. And then those kids grow up, and if they stay in town.
Yeah, well, theater really is a family thing for you. So
oh, totally. Yeah.
You mentioned your son starting in 4th grade at Civic.
Yeah.
And I've run sound for shows with Allison at Civic, and she's been doing Civic since she was a kid.
She was little, yeah.
As well. You bring people into your theater family. So, well, let's first talk about your theater kids. So your actual kids, as you have just mentioned.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking of people like TJ Rosa and Abby McClure-Loffman, who
love them.
Started
Children.
in youth theater and grew up at Civic Theater and doing shows with you and others until they became old enough to perform in main stage shows. And TJ, of course, has gone on to be one of our great stage managers and directors and choreo.
She's my other half of my brain, quite honestly. She really is.
So, and I was adopted at one point.
You're adopted.
13, 14 years ago into your theater
God,
family.
has it been that long?
Well, I was trying to think back to the first show that I got to do with you because I started, this was my 14th season with Civic. So
do you remember, what was your first show?
My first show, I was just running the board for Frank Sinatra, the music, Life, what's it called?
I don't know, but that was
the Frank Sinatra
but that
quasi-musical.
That was a while ago.
That was a while back, but
what was our first show?
We'd have to think back to, well, I don't remember what year it was, but I've heard
Did you do Spelling Bee? You did Spelling Bee.
I did Spelling Bee.
Yeah, yes. So that was 7 years.
25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee.
One of my favorite shows.
Yes. Still one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, that was such a
the thing about, tangent onto that show. What I loved about 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee
I love that you give it the whole name. That's great.
Every performance was unique because the script has improv built into it.
Yep.
The script has different ways for the director.
That's interesting.
You bring some people up from the audience. You get volunteers from the audience to come and they participate in the quote spelling bee.
Yeah.
But then the principal, whoever Martin played, was he the principal?
He was like vice principal.
Vice principal. So there's
Kate Martin was the principal. Yeah.
So there's two adults that are running this spelling bee, and there's built-in opportunities in the script for improv based on the questions they're asking and based on how the audience members who are on stage with us, how they react.
Yeah.
And Martin, of course, is
why he was chosen
master
for that part.
at improv. Yes. And so every show was unique and hilariously funny in a different way.
Yeah.
Then there's, of course, the humor built into the script that's the same every night. Those moments are always laughter, but then there's moments of spontaneity.
And poignancy. That's what I like with that show. It's not just ha, 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 ha. It's, God, some of those songs are killer. I mean, some of the stories with those kids are killer. Yeah, that's a beautiful show.
Okay, I'm thinking of 6 different tangents, but let me try to stay on the current one.
Yeah, just gonna say.
Which is, people get involved in Civic in one of your shows, and I guess if they gel with you, if you like them or if we like each other or something, and I heard you say this to cast after cast after cast, you'll say something like during the cast party at the end. You'll say something like, you're part of my family now.
Once you're in my show, you're one of mine. And then I've got you. And then it does, I rarely have had anybody that I've worked with that I didn't like. But there's certain roles, like you, for example. If somebody else was like, oh, I'd like to try something, I'd like bugger off. There's just certain people, well, because you're very, very good at what you do. Renee Kaysen, she is very, very good at what, in fact, next year, instead of the fall, I don't care which slot I'm in anyway, but instead of the fall, I'm doing the spring because she's going to be on sabbatical in the fall. And I'm like, TJ, like, oh my God, the year that she wanted to do the prom, I'm like, be in it. I'm like, you got to find something. She did. I had a great stage, but yeah. And we've got other really good we do have some other really good stage managers which is great. Cause for a while we didn't have very many. So
this thing of adopting people into your theater family,
just become mine.
Does it just kind of happen? Did you set out to do this? Or is it just that like this became part of your process? Like when you find someone that we work really well together, then
I'm going to keep you. I'm not going to let you go. And I try to treat everybody really. I mean, I also do because you're working and a lot of people aren't getting paid. You know what I mean? Like, that's the other thing. You have people
community theater.
That's right. There's people that work their heart out and don't get paid. And so I try to, be as nice to them as possible because I want them to keep doing things. I'm always sad to hear. I did a show where we don't do this much anymore, but you used to have a producer. And I produced Glass Menagerie. And you kind of find things, which I love to do, find things and do things. And I ended up doing costumes. It was only, a very, very small show. And the director was a very good director in that her shows were good, but she was horrible to people. And I had 2 people that had agreed to do some of the props. And they told me afterwards, they go, well, we'd work for you again, but we would never again work for that director. And I learned from that. I'm like, yeah, if people treat you like crap, then they're not going to come back. And we want people to come back, especially if they're talented and willing to help and do it for nothing.
Well, during the table read, the first rehearsal with a new cast, one of the things that you usually say is, look, I'm stern. I want it done my way, but it's because I've been doing this for so long and I know what I'm doing. You got to learn to trust that.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
either
Yeah.
people learn to trust that or I guess they don't come back.
Right.
But most people learn to trust that. And one of the things you say, and I think you're being facetious, is that I usually make somebody cry at some point during the rehearsal process. And I usually pipe in with, yeah, it's me.
Yeah. No, that is not facetious. I've had somebody
facetious.
cry every show except for this one. So I'm going to ruin my record if I don't make some. And sometimes when I say that, it's like I don't go out to try to make somebody
No.
cry, but I am blunt. And I tell people, because I get so aggravated, like in notes, if people are like, well, they'll argue back, and I'm like, this is no comment on you personally. This is what I'm seeing on stage. You need to fix that. It's not anything personal. I'm not liking you. I'm not whatever. And I do really mean it when I tell people, I don't care if you don't like me at the end of a show. I really, really don't. I got lots of friends. I got lots of family. I don't care, but I do care if people don't like the show. So for me, it's about the show and Civic. I mean, that's the two things. It's like, I want to do what's right for the show. I want to do what's right for Civic, because I'm all about the money. I am. I was like, we want butts in the seats.
Yes, indeed. And you have become one of our most consistent and prolific directors at Civic Theater, at least in my tenure here.
Oh, yeah.
And it seems to me that usually, if not the biggest show, then one of the biggest shows every season is, you look on the website, you look in the program, it says directed by Laurie Russell.
That's because I like the big shows.
Well, and also the big show, you tend to do our musicals.
Yeah.
And our musicals
Yeah.
tend to be musical comedies.
Right.
Or comedic musicals.
Yeah.
Sometimes with poignant moments, as you mentioned a moment ago. It's
Like
nice to...
Prom has certain, there's certain
Exactly.
things,
Or the spelling bee
Yeah.
has moments where I was up there in the booth crying, and moments
Yeah.
where I'm just breaking out with laughter and staring
Yes,
at Amelia,
particularly that
who is the
one, yeah.
stage manager,
Yeah,
and
she was good too.
just laughing and laughing at whatever Martin came up with.
Yes.
Well, why did you gravitate toward doing the big shows? Is that how you started as a director, or did you work your way up from smaller shows?
So
Take
when
us through becoming a director.
Okay, so I did, I was in some shows, and just the last one was La Cage, which was a very small part, which is fine. I just got where I was always about, I want to be on stage, I want to do this, and I don't know, more and more I was just like, and it's what my son said. My middle one went to Carnegie Mellon in acting, and which is quite prestigious. And I think the beginning of his senior year, he went to his advisor and he goes, and this is exactly what he said. He goes, I want to be the puppeteer, not the puppet. And she's like, okay. So he graduated with kind of a combo thing. They figured it out. And so that's because that's what he does. He directs and he writes, and he, is busy in theater. And so more and more, I don't know, I just got to where I just wanted to. So, but at Civic all along, again, the youth, I did a lot of youth shows, and I did them with the gal that was there. The chunk of time that I was doing this her name was Melanie, and she was phenomenal. And we worked so well together. And we ended up usually, because we need two people, we did the musicals. I did plays too, like kids plays and stuff like that. I love those too. But what I realized, so what was it, 2 or 3 years ago when I did Sordid Lives, which is a play, which it was just because how it worked that season. And Raquel called me and said, what do you want to do? I said, oh God, I love that movie. And yeah, but it was so funny because I was like, oh wait, it's all me at rehearsal. That was the funniest part. I was like, they'd be talking about something. I was like, oh yeah, I guess I'm running this the whole time. Whereas with a musical, you go, okay, Brian, okay, Chloe.
Okay, Paul.
Take over the dancing. Yep, Paul, you do the singing. You're kind of share. But I just love music. I mean, I just love musicals. They're just, what other better place where all of a sudden there's a serious moment and you break into song, or everybody's happy and you break into song. It's like, what's wrong with that? Nothing. This world needs a break into song more times than
not.
not.
My goodness, yes.
Yeah, so that's why. And then so I did a lot of youth stuff. And then when we used to do things at the amphitheater, which was fabulous, it just ended up being too expensive and, rain and all that kind of stuff. But when we were still doing it, the summer shows would make the money for the year. I mean, because it was a lot of money. So John Collier was supposed to direct Winnie the Pooh, and something came up. I don't remember if he had to go somewhere or be somewhere. So he had already cast the show, and my son was Winnie the Pooh. Because I heard later, well, yeah, you just cast your son. I was like, no, I didn't. John Collier did. Well, anyway, John couldn't do it. So Susan Kissinger, who was the managing director at the time, she called me in, and I'd been doing kids shows, and she goes, well, will you do Winnie the Pooh? And I was like, sure. And then later, I remember her saying to me, yeah, no pressure or anything, but this is our money that we live on. So I was like, thanks for making this really easy. It was so much fun. I've directed several shows out at the amphitheater. It was like camp. It was so much fun. So then after that, then I started doing, main stage. My first main stage show was The Nerd. Do you know The Nerd?
I do
Play the
not.
Nerd. It's a fabulous show. It's silly. But anyway, a comedy. Yeah, I don't do, they don't hire me to do dramas. Although I could. That was the one thing Melanie and I used to argue over. She said dramas were harder. I'd say comedy's way harder. Try to make somebody laugh. That's really hard. Make them cry, kill a puppy or a soldier, you're done. No, I'm
Yeah.
serious. Like drama is, I'm not saying it's easier like for the actors, but I'm saying as far as like directing and doing whatever, we had that argument forever. We still have the argument, but comedy's harder.
Sure, I can see that.
I think it is.
Well, there's a timing thing, and you
Absolutely.
gotta know how to deliver the material that the playwright wrote for
Yep.
you.
It has to be, it's certain. And that's fun for me because I feel like I have a firm grasp of comedy. So it's fun to teach an actor like, nope, put a beat in there. Now it's twice as funny or whatever, or turn this way. And now it's really funny. And of course I laugh at everything. So I told them you can't go by me because they'll be like, the audience didn't laugh at that. And I'm like, well.
You said you were a talker in grade school, high school. Were you the funny kid in class too?
Oh yeah. I remember, I still remember sitting in English class. This was one of the first times, I think it was a freshman in high school. And I had she was a fabulous teacher. It was English honors. And I remember her, I must have been holding my head, doing something weird with my head because she goes, Laurie, you all right? Do you have a headache? And without even thinking, I went, yeah, this class. Everybody laughed. And I remember thinking, oh, crap. And she laughed.
It's like, there's my grade.
There's my grade. She laughed.
Detention for a week.
And then I think I did say, oh, no, because I loved that class. I mean, she was great. But and I remember thinking, oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. Oh, yeah, I was a clown.
Burned a memory in your brain
Yep,
of
I
the
was
moment.
like, yep, I still remember that. I don't remember last week, but I still remember that. Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I know.
Oh, it's terrible.
Ask
isn't
me
it?
my phone number from my family phone number when I was 5. I can tell you that. I
Yep,
can tell
me
you the
too.
street address.
Me too.
But the name of the person who I'm going to be working with that I met 5 minutes ago.
I've gotten terrible with names. Terrible. I'm the same way. Or somebody tells me something and 2 minutes later, I'm like, wait, what?
Really? I thought I heard
Yeah.
you say the other day that maybe I was hearing someone else that getting the names down of a new cast.
Oh, I do. I am good at that. That's from teaching.
Okay, from
But
teaching.
meeting somebody socially,
Yeah.
like Mark will say, oh, this is so-and-so from this department. And I'll be like, hi. And then 2 seconds later, maybe because it's not, I don't feel I need to keep. Oh, yeah, no, that's from teaching. TJ and I were like, yeah, we got this. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't have that gift.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
from
usually
teaching.
end up, I usually, as the sound designer, sound engineer, I try to come to the table read the first rehearsal and meet everybody because we usually have somewhere between 50-60% our people are returning.
Sure, you know them already.
And then there's
New
somewhere
people.
between a third and half are new, their
I
first
try to get
performance
new
at Civic.
people every show. Yeah.
And so I think maybe that's why I why I kept coming back for shows, because after I'd done a couple, I realized I got to keep coming back to learn these names.
I
It's
don't
like,
know
okay,
anybody's names.
that person who's on stage, I saw her in the
Yeah,
last
the
show.
last show. But what is her
I probably
name?
should remember her name.
Yeah.
And then, I come to the table read, and then I'm usually doing my designing
Yeah.
thing. I'm not at all the rehearsals.
Well, that's
and then
it,
by the
yeah.
time I do come back to the rehearsals, it's like, oh my goodness.
Who was that?
Now I got to
Yeah.
put mics on these people.
Yeah.
And
you're like,
I
what's your
need their
name?
names.
They understand.
There have been times when I've wanted to go to TJ, who's your stage manager,
Right.
and say, during my first rehearsal,
Oh, we
when
could
we're
do
in
name
the space,
tags.
could I put name tags on
We
people? It's like
could.
by then, everybody. No, I know we could. That's
we could.
I learned their names.
I was
And
going to say,
I'm
that
delighted
forces
I
you.
did.
It's good for your brain. I find myself doing stuff. Like just today, I thought, I'm going to sit down with the piano, see if I can remember how to play, because I haven't played forever. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I can still play. But, oh, yeah, no. And the older, it doesn't get any better, John.
No,
You just get older and it gets worse.
I get this.
I'm just warning you.
So you were a teacher for many years.
Yeah, love teaching.
And then you retired.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you was, do you think that, but you were at Civic
Oh, all the way through.
all the way through
I didn't
that.
start really until Allie was, like doing the kids shows and stuff. She was 10, I think, is when we came back from Australia, where I started to really. The other thing was before that, and I appreciate that because I know we've had actors that have had children, and then all of a sudden they're gone. And I couldn't have done it because I was a stay-at-home mom. Well, ran a horse business, but that I was still home. But Mark traveled. So I had to think like a single mom all the time because almost every evening he was somewhere in Indiana doing something. He was an extension person. And so I couldn't have done Sunday through Thursday night. I'd have to pay a babysitter, which we couldn't afford, So once the kids were all old enough Like, so she was about 10 that I started doing stuff. Yeah. But yeah, once I retired, yeah, it does make it a lot
Well,
easier.
ease aside, obviously you have a little more time
Yeah,
available during
yeah.
a production. You're not working your day job anymore.
Right.
But I was going to ask, how has having that extra time, thanks to being retired, how has it affected your directing? How has it affected your productions? Like, do you think that...
Oh, I don't think I think I've worked the same on every single. I just have more time. I mean, like I would be doing things at midnight that now I can do during the day.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't feel like. I mean, I feel like all my productions were good productions, and everybody worked hard on them. And the one thing I will brag on is, and when I come back from when I die and come back as another person, I'm going to be a casting director because I cast well. And that's half the battle. And that's the one thing I don't get nervous and I don't worry, but I think about it before auditions is that if I don't have the right people, it just makes it so much tougher. And I've just been so lucky because we have so many talented people here in this community. If we could drag them over, I don't know how many times people have come to show, maybe their loved ones in a show for the first time and they come and they go, I didn't even know this was here. Good God, what do we have to do? I don't know. We advertise, we do things, we're everywhere. Anyway, so yes, and we're trying to we've started to do that. We started to get people from across the river from Purdue.
We've got a lot more Purdue students in recent
We're getting more Purdue
years.
students, and I love that because they're all over there. They're talented. There's an acting program, but there really isn't like a musical. They'll occasionally do a musical, but they don't have musical. It's not like Ball State where they have musical theater. Yeah, so it's like. Come up with one of the young men that are in our cast for Young Frankenstein. I think he's a freshman at Purdue. And he goes, yeah, I heard Clem talking about it. And I was like, I love musical theater, and they don't have that there. And so he came over and auditioned. It's great.
We'll take it. We need the
all
pipeline.
Great. They're all great. I have the best cast for Young Frankenstein.
Christy Carr, who's now our manager for operations.
Fabulous.
Yes. And I don't think I'm going to be spilling the beans because she's working on an event. There's some event in town that we're going to get to participate in.
Oh, yeah.
In January, I want to say. You'll be hearing more about this later on. But we're going to have a chance to stand in front of some young people and say, here's what our theater's about. Here's how you can get involved.
Good.
And she asked for lighting and sound to be involved and other things.
Yeah.
So we'll be hearing more about that.
Oh,
but
cool.
I'm like, yes, because we need
That's
more of everybody.
We need lighting designers. Hint, hint, anybody who listens.
We need sound engineers. We need costumes.
We need backstage. John. I don't care about anybody else. Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, John
it is true, though.
Doing every show this fall, and let me tell you, it's a bit much.
It's a lot, yeah. Well, that's the other thing.
I didn't set out to do this,
no. But that's a very good point. We try not to, we don't want to burn out volunteers. So we do want to have, however, for my shows, I get who I want and they just shouldn't do other shows.
Well, and you know what? Once we're adopted into your family, it's kind of like you're the theater mafia.
No, the theater mama, Mama L.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say mafia.
Yeah, I like mafia. Mafia mama. There you go.
It's kind of like, well, you can do my show. The show that's coming up in November, you can do my show. If you're not available, well, it would be a shame if something happened to you.
I don't think I go quite that far. I just go.
Not that far.
I just take it for. I don't take you for granted. I don't want to say that, but I just kind of go to people. So, John, you'll be doing my sound, and poor John, just goes. I guess I am.
Yes, Laurie.
Yes, Laurie.
Yes, Laurie. When's the first rehearsal?
Yeah, I do like the yes, Laurie.
Yeah. Well, you.
I'm bossy.
What I want to ask
broad.
you is how early do you really start? This is tying into that retirement question. And how early do you start working on a show? I know sometimes, and I appreciate this, you whisper in my ear a year and a half.
Yeah.
Ahead, so this is 6 months ahead of the public knowing.
Yeah.
But you whisper, I think we're trying to get the rights to this particular show, and it will probably be done in X month and year. So assuming we get the rights, would you please put that on your calendar? I would like you to do. I'd like you to work with me, please.
That's exactly what I do.
So
I collect my people immediately. So as soon as I know a show and when it is.
But collecting your people is great, and every director should do that. And I'll tell you, as somebody who's busy and loves doing this, we'd like to get it on our calendar.
Well, that's it. People have lives.
Instead of hearing about it about 4 weeks beforehand, hey, can you do this? Can you run this show?
No.
But beyond collecting your people for your creative team, when are you starting to go through the script and marking it up? When are you thinking about blocking? When are you thinking about, I need this kind of a person for this role?
I am ashamed to say this, but I have a really good friend, Barry Schreier, who he was involved with Civic for years, and he's a really good director. So when he finds out he has a show like a year ahead of time, he's got his script. He's read it over and over and over. He doesn't do blocking or, I don't, till closer. But I'm like, yeah, that's in the fall. I'll worry about that then. I'm terrible. I mean, I will read it. And usually it's a show. If it's a show I don't really know well, like I knew Young Frankenstein. I've seen it, but I not, the songs. I listen to the songs. Like when I did Rocky Horror, of course I love all those songs. Like for months, that's all I listened to was Rocky Horror. So I'll listen to the songs and stuff, but yeah, I'm a very last minute person, and I will sit down and go, oh yeah, I have to actually think about this. And casting, I instinctively, I guess, I don't know. I know what the character needs, and then I don't worry about it till I see who I get. Because, you might have in your head, oh, here, this would be this perfect, somebody that I know, or for example, oh, they'd be perfect for this. But then somebody may come along and just blow them out of the water. And this is a subject that with other directors, I'm like, I try not to look like I'm casting my friends. And yes, people will go, well, Martin's in every show. And I go, have you ever seen Martin in a role that wasn't correct for Martin in that show?
Right.
I said, I have 2 different instances where people thought they were going to have a part, and that somebody came and blew them out of the water. I'm always like, I don't precast. But yes, if somebody that's I love dearly is perfect, they're going to get the part. It's like, I don't, like when I used to do youth and one of my kids would be in it or something, and people would be like, oh, you cast your kid. And I go, yep, they were right for the part. And so, and if they weren't, I wouldn't cast them. So it's just something I feel really strongly about, because in community theater, as it is, people will say, like, well, you have this cliques of people and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, unfortunately, that clique is not really a clique. It's a group of really talented people who then they get cast,
Yeah.
So I was pleased with this show to have a couple different people in leads, one brand new, so we've got, one that's done other stuff but hadn't been a lead. And yeah, I like to mix it up. But again, even if it's somebody that is every time, I'm going to go, if they're the best person, I'm all about the show.
Yeah.
And if I hurt somebody's feelings, I'm sorry, but also that's theater. You're not going to get, every part that you want.
It's community theater, so there will be another opportunity.
Exactly. That's the other thing. There's more shows. Come on, people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go audition.
And if they're a name that you know, then, well, I would like to think that the actors that you know really well, if you were to say, I thought you were going to get this role, and then so-and-so came along.
Well,
and
I don't tell anybody I'm going to give them the role beforehand.
Well,
but yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
But if they were to say to you after, during a
afterwards,
rehearsal process,
say, well,
run into another show, it's like, yeah, I really thought I was going to get this role. I was looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I was surprised when I didn't. And I suppose your answer very rightly would be, well, wait till you see so-and-so on stage, because
if they'll do that, yeah.
This person is fantastic.
Yeah.
So
the other thing I will tell people is, if you're somebody who gets a reputation, I won't cast somebody if they're going to drive me nuts. They might be the very, very best person for the. I've not really had that where like they were, somebody was like, oh, they'd be the best. Usually they've been beaten out. But if it's kind of close or whatever, yeah, the person that I know that's gonna be lovely and do the work and get along with everyone in the cast. I put together cast, as you know. I tell everyone, I don't care what they do before or after the show, but you're all best friends through this, and the drama stays on the stage, not off. And of course, some of that you can't help, but at the same time,
people will be people. But
yeah, but I nip it, and that's several times where I've made people cry because I've told. And that's the other thing, I've kicked people out. I will remove somebody if they're a problem, and people know that,
or not doing the work,
or not doing the work,
or disrupting the work.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, this is part of being the theater mom.
I'm an old. That's what I am. A school teacher. That's what I am.
I don't know if I'm allowed to use that.
You can say, I'm an old school teacher. So what does that tell you? There you go. Now you can use that.
Thank you.
Really, I'm a on wheels. And that's the other thing, which is terrible. But I have had so many people that go, oh my God, I was so scared of you. And I'm like, good. That's good. You're on your toes. You're going to do the work. And until they got, I always laugh because by the end, everybody's like having fun and it's all good. No, I don't think anybody, I'm sure there's a few people that don't like me, but you know what I mean? You see our group, by the end it's all good, but you start out mean.
I love that we're always bringing new people into the family in one way or another. So as I said,
hopefully,
I'm not looking at actual statistics, right? But my feeling every time a new show starts is it's anywhere
We
from a third to
try.
a half
Yeah, yeah.
are new to Civic.
Yeah. There's a bunch of new people in the Christmas radio, whatever the name
Yeah,
of it.
Christmas Carol,
Excuse
the
me,
radio play.
including John O'Malley, who's
Who's
going to
he?
be on stage.
On stage.
That's going to be so fun.
Why would he
I'm
want to
gonna
be
come
on
be
stage?
your fan.
Oh, well, thank you, Laurie.
Yay.
I didn't set out to do this. I didn't even audition.
I know. But that's even better. That means they want you.
Well, yeah, Trey. So, okay, since this came up, I'll tell the quick story.
Yeah.
So, A Christmas Carol, the radio play, is coming up after
is
Young
that
Frankenstein.
Is that the official title?
I believe A Christmas Carol, the live radio play.
Oh, okay.
So it is the story that you know.
Sure.
It is the
Yeah.
Christmas past, Christmas
Right.
future, Scrooge, and all of that, and Tiny
I
Tim.
love Christmas Carol.
But it's presented as a 1945 radio play. So
Okay.
the audience will come into the theater. The set will look like a 1945 radio
Right.
studio, and the cast will be delivering their lines of the play into microphones for the quote-unquote radio audience.
I bet you'll use my microphones from Forever Plaid. I bet.
Is that where they came from?
Yes, we bought those for Forever Plaid.
Yes.
That's why you have those.
These are
that was years
modern,
ago.
Shure microphones that look old-fashioned.
Yeah, aren't those great?
Yes, they
Yeah,
are.
I know.
And they will be
That's where
in a
they
starring
start.
role on stage.
Yeah, yeah.
So Trey Gordon, who's directing,
Yay, Trey. We all love Trey.
calls me up after the auditions, which I did not go to because
You
A,
weren't
the
on-
sound designer does not usually go to the audition process, and B, I
No.
was not auditioning. And he
Yeah.
said,
How would you like to?
yeah, he
Yeah.
said, there's an announcer role. So I've been, as I said, this is my 14th season at
Who
Civic.
would be better than you? That's
And
what you do.
it's a radio play, so there is an announcer.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, if I could get someone to run the soundboard, and Taylor Graham readily said yes, he would
Oh,
do it, and he's
perfect.
amazing.
Yeah.
And if Trey and Em don't mind that I'm going to be at Young Frankenstein rehearsals until
Yeah, I was going to say, you're mine. That's what
until
I'm very
2 weeks,
possessive.
2-3 weeks before
Yeah.
the Christmas Carol opens.
But that's fine because you
But
can
the-
have your.
Well, the announcer only has about 4 lines at the beginning and end of each act.
Oh.
And
well, you
and
can
I'll
do
also be
that.
helping with live sound effects on stage.
Yeah.
That's
Let
the
me
part
know
that-
if you need anything.
Oh, well,
you never
thank
know
you.
because I have so much crap at my house.
I would say, would you teach me how to act? But here's the thing.
You do fine. You
I've
acted
never-
in what show did I do that you did voices? Oh, Prom.
Oh, well,
yeah, you were
just doing voices from the booth is different because
I
I worked
know.
in radio.
Yeah, but
I
you're going to be
can-
doing it'll just pretend it's radio because you're
but
right there.
I thought when Trey asked me to do this, I thought if there's ever a chance to be on stage without having
It's
to learn how to act,
perfect. Yeah,
this
well,
is it because the role is the announcer.
But you're acting with your voice, which I think your body would follow. But anyway, I'm just saying this.
Well, we
When
shall
you told
see.
me this, I was like, this is perfect. But yeah, you did the monster truck. It was great. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
true. My
Yeah.
voice has been in productions.
Yeah, I'm just saying you can
So,
do it. You'll be fine.
thank you.
You'll be great. And
I
Trey
appreciate
is
that.
wonderful.
Let's go back to your
Sorry,
comedy.
we digress.
That's all right. This is what I do.
You can cut it out. Cut all that crap out.
Let's go back to we were talking about comedy, and
Yeah.
I was at. You
Yeah.
said you were a talker in school,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and you learned to deliver the one-liners in school,
And be a pill.
and you worked your way toward having a specialty for musical comedy
Yeah.
as a director.
Yeah.
So, but there's a whole nother comedy thing that you've done here in town.
Oh, my improv.
Yeah,
That's so
20
much
years
fun.
ago, you were one of the
25 years.
25 years
We just
ago.
did our 25 anniversary.
That's right.
Yeah.
I should have put that together,
Yes.
but I don't do math in
Yeah,
my
well, I
head.
was going to say it's okay. It's a memory thing.
You were one of the founding members of One Size
Yes,
Fits
I
All,
was.
the local
Yeah.
comedy
And
improv
that was Barry
troupe.
Schreier again, my friend. That's such a wonderful director.
So how did that come about?
So he did classes. And so I took one of his classes, loved it. And then he had another group that wanted to do a class. And so we did that. And then he had people reaching out. I still remember we did something for PEFQ at the trails. God, I miss the trails. They had good-
PEFQ meaning Purdue Federal Credit Union
Yeah,
for
yeah, PEFQ.
any non-local listeners.
And it was like they paid us money to go, and they had some sort of banquet or something, and we did it. And oh my God, it was so much fun. And we did a couple shows at Civic, like our classes did a couple shows at Civic. And then Barry started, like we would just do, little outside shows. And then he was like, well, we could do another show at Civic. And we would sell those out for a long time. We sold those out. I mean, we're still doing them at Civic, and there's still good crowds. And then we got somebody connected with Brew Pub, and we started doing adult shows there, which was great. And during that time, it got named, and yeah, I've been doing it ever since. The bad thing is, I'm still a member. I still do things, but when I'm doing a show, I can't do because you have to be at rehearsal to do a show. Because I'm around on the weekends, but you have to be at rehearsal to do a show, which is fair. Yes, people, we do rehearse for.
Well, that was
improv.
going to be my next question. Is
Yes.
if it's improv, which
Nope.
means in the moment.
You rehearse the setups
The
and
setup.
and the games. There's 5 million different kind of games. So if you say we're going to play, translating or what translator or whatever that game is, you have to know what you're doing. So, but yeah, and when you practice it, it's the same. It's exactly the same. You just come up with ideas and then you run it and then see how it went. And sometimes it goes really well at rehearsal and then it shows it doesn't, and vice versa. So it's improv. Yeah,
It's
fun.
improv.
It's fun.
You'll learn to build off of yes and.
Yes, that's exactly. And you know what? If the whole world would be better if we all just went yes and.
Yes, and
It's
I'm
a good advice for anybody.
willing to accept you even though you're a little bit different
Yeah,
from me.
exactly.
I had the pleasure of speaking with Benji Braswell, our director of outreach and,
Right.
and education, in a recent
Yeah,
podcast
I saw a
episode.
picture.
And Benji talked very eloquently about how theater is a tool for changing the world.
Oh, it
Theater
is.
is
It
a
totally
tool for
is.
helping people
Yeah.
learn acceptance and to think about someone who's different than you and get along with them.
Yeah. You have so many different personalities. And especially, which they do a lot of, they deal a lot with youth. And you have so many kids that they don't play sports, or they're not a cheerleader, or they're not cool or whatever. But then they discover Civic. And when you have a class, all different kinds of kids and adults, are together to make this, create something, create art. And it's phenomenal. It's fun to watch, and it's fun to watch everybody accept everybody and get along for the most part.
So is this something that you think about through the process
Oh,
of,
I do.
of directing and being in shows? Do you think about how Young Frankenstein, how coming to see Young Frankenstein
I'm not sure that's gonna
or being in the
change
show
the world.
can-
I think
can
so,
change the
because I watch, like, we had new people, and I watched some of our, because it's skewed pretty young, this cast, and so we have this wonderful group of young actors who've done stuff together. So they're good friends. Oh my God, you can't get them out of the parking lot. I'm like, go home.
Yes, an hour after rehearsal.
Oh, I know, they're still out there.
You and I and others members of the creative
Yeah.
team may be inside finishing up doing
yeah.
whatever, and we go out. We're ready to leave an hour later.
They're still out in the parking lot.
And they're still out there.
Exactly, that group. And anyway, I adore them.
Yeah, they're
What I
awesome.
watch them, from day
This
one.
is you, Hope, and Clem, and
Oh yeah,
Liam,
yeah.
and Tyler,
That group, yeah. And I,
Chloe.
but I watched them. We had all these new people, and I watched them draw them in. In fact, I gave Liam a ride to rehearsal this last time, and I said to him, I just love you guys. He goes, oh my gosh, Christina is a riot, and Colin is this, and Colin, because they're a little bit younger than them. I love watching that happen, and I push it. Like when I do a show, and it's so funny because a lot of the kids were trained. So section A, like, I don't allow people to sit all over the place. Cast will sit. Some people will sit in the middle. Some will sit far away. And I go, nope. Get your ass over here. You're gonna all sit in section A. We're all best friends. And so I push it, and it's amazing. Yes, you can't make people be friends, but you can make people be.
You can make them sit together,
And you can make them
and then
cordial.
nature happens.
Yes, and it also happens because then they realize, oh, so and so is really good at this, or funny at this, or they said this, or whatever. Yeah, and what I do adore seeing lifelong friendships from this, and I've been doing this again 30 years, and also mine. I mean, I have friends like TJ's been my friend since she was 4, maybe.
TJ is remarkable.
She's amazing. Yeah, she's anyway. So yeah, I love seeing friendships come out. I do love seeing casts gel and become these friends that they would not have had otherwise.
Yeah.
They would not have had a reason to meet them, or they might meet them, but why would they continue? You know what I mean? But they spend 8 weeks, 6 weeks if it's a play, but 8 weeks of every week, Sunday through Thursday night, you get friendly with people.
I watched a couple of the young girls from School of Rock during.
Those crazy children. I love them all.
Well, the part that is burned in my memory, which emphasizes what you've just been talking about, is we're at the cast party.
Oh, God.
And
Boo-hoo-hoo.
yeah, a couple. I don't need to name names. If you're listening, you'll know it's you, right?
Oh, they'll know. They all were.
Yes, but
Maybe
yeah,
some of the
just
boys weren't.
with
Oh,
flowing
God, they
tears
wouldn't
of
stop
joy at
crying.
that cast party because they.
I don't think it was
go
joy.
to-
They were in despair.
Well, okay, despair / joy, right?
Yeah,
Despair
yeah.
that it's over.
Yes, that's what I'm
But
saying.
joy because these kids realize that they live in different parts of town. They don't go to
Different
the same
schools.
schools.
Yep.
So
Yep.
they met at Civic, and over the course of these 8-12 weeks that we do these shows, became so close
Yeah.
that they now can't imagine getting to see
Life
each other
without
every
them.
day.
And some of them still do. That's what I love,
Yes.
is some of the kids are still friends.
Let's wrap by talking about Young Frankenstein,
Oh,
the
yeah,
Mel
Young
Brooks
Frankenstein.
musical. Why did you want to do this musical in particular? and well, tell us about what's unique about this cast.
Well, Young Frankenstein, first of all, I love Mel Brooks. He's full of shtick, which I love. It's just, comedy that's just ridiculous, and which I love. And you can add layers to it because you just can't make it too ridiculous. I'm a fan of Mel Brooks. Love the movie. The musical is so much fun, and the songs are catchy. And we hadn't done it. So, because, sometimes Civic will go, well, let's do something. And we'll do it. Like we did Steel Magnolias, and it was beautiful and was great, and everybody loved it. But I'm like, I want to do something we haven't done. And there's such good theater out there. It's like, so we hadn't done that. And then, when I read the script, it's slapstick, there's sexual innuendo, although families can come, but I would say 8 and up. I took my granddaughter last year to Red Barn to see, and she was 8, and a lot of it went over her head.
Mm-hmm.
They also didn't sing the song, but whatever.
I think I have to beep that too.
We are.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to use that in the podcast.
That you can keep that out, but anyway, so it's my kind of show, and again, I do love shows like Spelling Bee or Prom, where there are poignant moments and there's a real message. But what I've come to realize, and I wrote this in my director's note, because I've joked with the cast and crew that there's no meaning to this. It's just it's you have to dig for it. But if you think about it, there's 2 things. There's family. There's Dr. Frankenstein trying to be himself and move away from his crazy family business. And every young person struggles with that. You want to be your own self, but you also want to keep your family most of the time. Maybe some people don't want to keep their family. And the other theme is acceptance. The monster wasn't bad, as Frau Blucher says all the way through. He's not bad. He is good. And Rachel Young is phenomenal in that role. And that's always been something that I feel so strongly about, is acceptance. Like when I went through school and people would pick on kids, or and one time my sister, somebody was making fun of my sister, and I beat the crap out of him. So don't mess with me if you
don't mess with Laurie
no.
at any age.
Oh, I got in so much trouble. Oh no, I punched him out. He was, making fun of my sister, and I'm like,
yeah,
you just don't do that. And my whole life, I had a mother that was that. She said the most important thing to her was being fair. She goes, everyone needs to be fair to everybody else. That you can't be mean to people, whatever. I don't know where it comes from, but it just gripes my chaps. Because anyway, it's a cowboy thing. So to me, at the end there's a happy ending, and they're accepting the monster, and so it's a little far to reach, but that message is there.
Well,
and it's funny.
He's a monster, but it's still allegorical in today's world, right?
Yeah, he's a monster, but he really wasn't. I think that's the point. Once they, I won't tell you the ending. You have to come see the show. Yeah, it's got a very happy ending. It's a great show. And as my cast, I think I know I say this about every cast, because like I said, I feel like I'm good at casting, but I am madly in love with this cast. They're phenomenal. You watch it, they're just everybody in their own part. The leads are great. The ensemble's great. And folks, we're going to bring tap back to Civic Theater.
Nice.
I know. We're going to have some tap dancing, and they're good. They're doing a good job. I just think, with Young Frankenstein, the message is there that, the monster is unknown. They take him at face value. They look at him and go, he looks scary. He's making scary noises. And until they actually get to know the monster, they're afraid of him. But it's like anything else. It's like even the gay community. I think Will and Grace did such a good job of then people realize, oh, yeah, my brother-in-law is gay. Oh, wait. Or they meet somebody and go, oh, oh, you're gay. And then they become friends with them. And then they go, oh, well, you're just like me. It's just that acceptance comes from getting to know somebody. Yeah. I think it all comes down to, get to know the monster, and you'll find out that that there really is no monster.
So Young Frankenstein, fantastic cast. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about that almost forgot to put in. In fact, you mentioned it earlier. You mentioned that one of your kids is married to somebody who won a Tony. This is a family thing. We talked a lot about family.
Yeah.
Your real family and their involvement in theater, and your theater family,
Yeah.
those that you've adopted into it, and so forth. But could you tell us a little bit about Sam Pinkleton, who he won the Tony in
He did.
2025
Yeah. Well, there was the little
for
play.
best, what is it? Best direction of a play.
Of a play. There was a little play called Oh Mary. It's the story of Mary Todd Lincoln, and as Cole says, the star of the show and who wrote it, it is not historically based. And Cole plays Mary, and she's an alcoholic who wants to be a cabaret dancer and singer, and drives her husband Abe nuts to achieve that goal. And it's a brilliantly written, one of the funniest plays I've ever seen. It started off Broadway. It sold out. They moved it to Broadway. It sold out. The biggest worry was that could it carry on without Cole? Well, they found out they've subbed all these different people in. And Sam Pinkleton was there at the ground floor. He knew Cole from a project they'd worked on a few years ago. And he, directed off Broadway, directed on Broadway. And yes, he won the Tony, and I got to go to the Tonys, and it was unbelievable. The fact that he won, and then Cole won for Best Actor. So
well,
it was
congratulations.
pretty exciting. You don't
to
want to end
Sam.
with that.
Well, okay, then let's end with this. So we do community theater. We're here in the Midwest. We're in Lafayette,
Yeah,
Indiana.
community theater.
And, what do I know? Because I'm just a community theater guy.
Yeah.
Right? But I believe that in the years that I've been in Civic, and you've been in Civic twice as long as me, I believe that I have seen some Tony caliber performances on our stage.
Yeah.
In both dramas and musicals. We've seen just amazing acting. We've closed shows together that I thought, this is a shame. This is a darn shame that this show has to close after
Keep running. Yeah.
3 weekends. We used to do 3 weekends. Now we
Yeah.
do 2 very compressed of the same number of shows.
Yeah.
And I thought this show could keep running. We could take this show to bigger stages in bigger towns.
Oh, yeah.
And with a little bit of press, once some word of mouth happened in that town, then we'd be selling out the same show. I thought that with the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee.
Rocky Horror.
I thought that with Rocky Horror. 9 to 5 was great. Mamma Mia, our performance of Mamma Mia was amazing. School of Rock was great. They're just, time after time, we do
Yeah.
shows, and we get some phenomenal performers on
Yeah,
our stage.
we do.
Who, it's really too bad that the Tonys can't find a way to have nominees from community
They
theater.
don't do that, but they do honor regional, professional theaters. What I tell my cast all the time, having a link, in a hearing all about like what Sam does and what they do, I said, what we do is exactly the same as what they do. They just have more money. I said, and I always do this during, like, when we do previews. It used to be we just had one. Now we've got our great VIP shows, and that helps, which is so that we have 2 or 3. I said, you guys are doing this show with 1 or 2 previews. They do months of previews. They get to tweak and change, and months of this, that, and the other. I said, in some respects, you guys are more talented because you do this when we all do it on a budget, and we end up with a phenomenal product. And it's because you guys are just as talented. It's just that they have more money and more space.
And they're on Broadway.
And
They're,
they're on Broadway, so they do have more money. But I'm just saying that, I'm just always impressed with what we do.
The craft is the same.
Yeah. And I've gone to previews of shows in New York on Broadway where there was one, the whole curtain. Well, that was the Tony Award winning Strange Loop. They have a scene where a curtain is supposed to go up and show an upper level. And they were supposed to move to that upper level. Well, one side went, the other side. And I said, mistakes happen on Broadway too. Actors were brilliant. They just stayed where they were. They did what they had to do. And then later, they did it. And then I saw another show where a sound cue it was thunder and lightning, and it wasn't supposed to happen. You could see the actors go, kind of look to the side and then just plowed on because they were so everything they do, we do.
Yeah.
It's
This, by the way, is where I cringe and thinking, oh my gosh, how many times have I flubbed up a sound cue?
I can't think of a time you've ever summed up.
I can.
But anyway,
but,
okay. Well,
yeah.
you're that's why you're good. You angst over one mistake, and that's a good thing. Because I'm the same way. There's one little thing I'm thinking, oh, I should have done this, or maybe I should have done that. But anyway, yeah. But no, and to me, it's eye opening. Again, because I know, like, Sam will tell me like different things, and personalities and dealing with that. And he's also the nicest person in the world. So
Same craft, smaller scale.
exactly. Yeah, it really is. We're all producing art. We're all producing art. It might be a different scale. Again, we need more money. And that's the beauty of it, I think. I think everybody walks away like, I did that. That was really, really spectacular. And I did that. This whole group of people. It's not just, you talked about our fabulous cast. We also have a fabulous band and fabulous crew. Like, it's every piece is so important. And when you're all done, you're like, yeah, we did something special.
There was a wall between every day and the dreams you keep. And when you miss your time, you count the days till you're coming back. Things change, we grow, we never let the inside show. Late nights in the cold, the family band in the neon glow.
Laurie Russell, director of Young Frankenstein, the Mel Brooks musical, at Civic Theater through November 22nd, 2025. Get your tickets now at LafayetteCivic.org. Next on the podcast, Trey Gordon and M. Miller, director and stage manager of A Christmas Carol, the live radio play. Music for this podcast is licensed by Audio. That's AUDIIO.com. I'm John O. Thanks for listening. The Civic Theater Show is presented by Civic Theater of Greater Lafayette, Indiana. See yourself here.